Hi, this is King of Review. In this problem, we want to solve the system of linear equations using Cramer's rule. So if we have two equations that are set up in the form ax plus by equals e and cx plus dy equals f, then we can use Cramer's rule to solve the system, that is, find x and y. So Cramer's rule is a method where we use determinants to solve a system of linear equations. Cramer's rule states that x can be found by taking the determinant of the x matrix and dividing it by the determinant of the coefficient matrix. And likewise, y can be found by taking the determinant of the y matrix and dividing it by the determinant of the coefficient matrix. So let's set up our matrices. We'll start with the coefficient matrix. Well, the entries in this matrix are just the coefficients of our x and y terms. So A, B, C, and D. The x matrix, well, this starts with E and F, and you notice E and F are the constants of our equations. And then we have B and D. And the y matrix, this is equal to A, C, E, and F. So let's set up the matrices for our specific system. We'll start with the coefficient matrix. What are the coefficients? Well, we have 3, -2, 1, and 5. 3, -2, 1, and 5. Now the x matrix. This starts with E and F, which are the constants, so 3 and 2. And then we have B and D, -2 and 5. And the y matrix, we have A and C, 3 and 1, and E and F, so 3 and 2. So now we've set up our three matrices. But you notice Cramer's rule states that when we solve for x and y, we need to use the determinants. So what is a determinant? Well, a determinant is a real number that's associated with a square matrix. So let's say we have a matrix, and the entries within the matrix are A, B, C, and D. So if we want to find the determinant, what we're going to do is start by taking the product of the entries in the main diagonal, that's A and D, and then we're going to subtract the product of the entries in the other diagonal, that's C and B. So AD minus CB, this is how we find the determinant. So let's do that with the coefficient matrix. So we're going to start by taking the product of the entries in the main diagonal, that's 3 times 5, and then subtract the product of the entries in the other diagonal, 1 and -2. So 3 times 5 minus 1 times -2, and when you work this out, you get 17. Now let's set up the determinant for the x matrix. We'll start by taking the product here. So we have 3 times 5, and then we'll subtract 2 times -2. So 3 times 5 minus 2 times -2, and when you work this out, you get 19. So 19 is the determinant for the x matrix. And now for the y matrix determinant, we take the product of the main diagonal, so 3 times 2, minus the product of the entries in the other diagonal, 1 times 3. And when we work this out, we get 3. So now, solving for x, we take the determinant of the x matrix, that's 19, divided by the determinant of the coefficient matrix, that's 17. So we have 19 over 17. X is equal to 19 over 17. And now for y, we take the determinant of the y matrix, that's a 3, and divide it by the determinant of the coefficient matrix, that's 17. So y is equal to 3 over 17. So now we've solved our system. We know what the x and y values are. Letter C is correct. Thanks for watching.